changes to LeBlanc, Master Yi, Shen, Twitch, and Zac, as well as item changes to Phage, Trinity Force, Frozen Mallet, as well as Entropy on this week's patch update. My name is Shadowswalm. Let's get right into things. This is patch 3.10a. There have only been minor changes and bug fixes. No huge overhauls this time, guys. Let's get right into things. LeBlanc. Her early game was very tough to get through. You know, her early game meaning the laning phase, the first, I want to say 7 to 8 levels. So what Riot did was they increased her base health regen to 7.05 from 5.05, and her attack damage per level has been increased to 3.5 from 3.1. In general, what this means for her, you won't have to go ahead and turret hug as often. You'll have that increased health regen to where you have a little more survivability in that early laning phase. As well as you don't have to rely on, casting your spells to go ahead and get those minion last hits. You can go ahead and try and auto attack them, so that way you're saving mana, you're putting yourself in less risk, so that way you're not putting your spells on cooldown, and it should just be better overall for her. I've been one of those players where I'll play LeBlanc every once in a while. I haven't played her since, they first reworked her with all of the changes. She was good, but I found the issue of her being too squishy at that point to be an issue. So I'm glad they changed little things about her. It's nothing that's going to be game breaking. It's just giving her a little more potency in that early game to sustain in lane. Master Yi. He was one of those champions that if he got a kill, he was going on a dunking spree. So they fixed that. Highlander now passively reduces the remaining cooldown of Master Yi's basic abilities by 70% on kill or assist, instead of 18 seconds for kills or 9 seconds for assists. Meaning, Master Yi will have to cast something else other than Alpha Strike after Alpha Striking and getting a kill. Highlander will only refresh 70% of the cooldown. He has to go ahead and, meditate. He's going to have to auto-attack a couple of times. He's going to have to do something in order to, wait for the cooldown of that Alpha Strike. And speaking of meditate, the damage reduction has been increased at later ranks of meditate, and it now scales from 50 to 55 to 60 to 65 to 70, from 40 to 45 to 50 to 55 to 60. So less, it's an overall 10% damage reduction increase at all levels. That is nice. He needed that little extra tankiness when he's not Alpha Striking. And Wuju style has been reworked. It only grants you 10% bonus attack damage at all ranks, instead of scaling from 7 all the way up to 15. And his attack speed per level has been decreased to 2 from 2.75. Meaning, he's more easily dealt with than he was previously. He's still tough to deal with, do not get me wrong. He's still very tough to deal with, especially with that change to meditate. But he can no longer just go on a dunking spree and Alpha Strike an entire team to death. He has to actually auto-attack. He actually, has to do something else other than Alpha Strike in between those Alpha Strikes. Riven. Riven can now only leap over walls with her third hit of Broken Wings. That was a big change a lot of players were asking for. She would hop in, into combat with the first leap, and, if she was good enough and had good CDR, she could leap over a wall to safety with that third leap. I'm saying, hey, come in for a quick turret dive, leap back out type scenario. So now she can only leap over the wall with that third hit, so it's more situational when you want to do that. It's not, hey, first leap over a wall, second leap back over the wall, third leap over another wall. It's now third leap you're done. You have to wait for the cooldown to actually be done. And speaking of broken wings, the third hit now knocks the affected targets up rather than knocking them back, and the hitbox has been returned to more closely match the particle effects. Meaning, Riven used to knock enemies back with the third strike of broken wings, which would cause her to go ahead and have to move up a little bit to go ahead and hit them again. She no longer has to do that. She's right there on top of them. She gets that extra half a second on them. That is good. Again, all these changes were kind of needed for Riven. For Shen, these aren't big changes. They're minor ones. Well, the feint is minor. The stand united is pretty massive. Feint, which is his shield. The shield amount has been reduced to 60, 100, 140, 180, 220, from 70, 115, 160, 205, 250. So last rank, it's 30 damage less that it absorbs. Granted, it still scales off of ability power, which a lot of people forget, but I'm gonna go off on a limb here and say that we're gonna see some Shens go ahead and build an AP item or two. You know, it's nothing gonna be, oh my god, distracting and, you know, overbearing, but it's gonna be something small, something simple, to just give them that extra oomph that you need to make feint, you know, what it used to be. And Stand United can now be interrupted by rooting effects. Meaning, if you get Twisted Advanced by Maokai while you're, you know, ulting onto somebody, you cannot ult anymore. You cannot ult to get out of a bad situation. You're ulting in to save an enemy, not to get out of a bad situation. That is very, very key right there. A lot of players were going ahead, and I'm guilty of this too, you know, you're getting focused on, but so is your teammate, and you're like right next to each other. Instead of taunting because it might be on cooldown or you don't have the energy, you stand united. So you get that shield on your ally as well as you're still taking damage. So you reduce the damage on your ally while you still take some yourself. Now, as soon as you get rooted, again, whether it be by, you know, a Twisted Advance by Maokai, you happen to go ahead and get trapped by Caitlyn on accident, you know, anything like that, it now interrupts Stand United. That is very good. We'll have to see how that affects gameplay. Twitch. Not a big change with him, just a very, very, very minor nerf for his early game. Expunge's base damage has been reduced to 20, 35, 50, 65, 80 from 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Early levels, it hits very, very little. Well, for very little. Later levels, it still hits as hard. You know, early level, 20 damage nerf, okay, not a big deal. Second level, it's 15 damage nerf, okay, not a big deal. Second level, 10 damage, not a big deal. Fourth level, it's a 5 damage nerf. There's almost no difference whatsoever. We're gonna have to see how people, you know, play Twitch now that he can't be as aggressive with that expunge. I'm casting a tournament this weekend, so we'll have to see what happens with all these changes. Zac. Cell Division. The blob absorption and squish radius has been reduced to 25 from 100, meaning the blobs fly a shorter distance, and you have to be more on top of them to get them. Let's Bounce no longer grants tenacity, and fix the tooltip to state that Zac removes all slowing effects that are upon him upon activation. Meaning if you're slowed by volley or whatever, you get that removed from you now when you pop your ultimate as Zac. That's very good. I know people were having issues landing their ultimate as Zac because they got slowed by, again, a volley from Ashe with, you know, level 4 Frost Arrow. You know. Again, we'll have to see how this all plays into effect, but the blob absorption, that's kind of a big deal. Yes, they don't fly as far, but you still have to be, you know, that still changes where you have to be to absorb them. You have to be, like, right on top of them instead of, oh, hey, you're, like, right here, and it's right here. you can't absorb it that far. You have to like be right here. You have to be almost on top of it. So items, very minor changes here and there. The Blade of the Ruin King as well as the Cutlass, the cast range has been reduced to 450 from 550, and the activation cooldown for Blade of the Ruin King has been increased to 90 seconds from 60. The Spirit Visage, the combined cost has been increased to 500 from 375. The total cost has been increased to 2750 from 2625. Phage and Trinity Force. Phage's passive is no longer icy. They removed that from Phage. The new passive is Rage. Basic attacks grant 20 movement speed for 2 seconds on hit. Mini monster and champion kills now grant 60 movement speed for 2 seconds. The combined cost has been reduced to 375 from 590. The total cost has been reduced to 1250 from 1465. Trinity Force. Since it still requires Phage, the icy has been removed and it now gets Phage's passive, which is Rage. The Spellblade effect from Shen. The damage increase has been increased to 200 base attack damage from 150. And due to Phage's price reduction, the total cost of Trinity Force is now 3628 from 3843. Frozen Mallet has a new recipe. It's a Giant's Belt, Pickaxe, Ruby Crystal, and combined cost of 950 gold. The total cost is 3,300 gold, and the icy passive has been retained, meaning you still get the slowing effect from Frozen Mallet, just not Phage. Which, I mean, in all honesty, when you had, Trinity Force, you were getting both a movement speed increase from the Zeal, as well as the slowing effect from the Phage. So now you have minor movement speed increase while you're attacking, as well as the static movement speed increase from the component of Zeal, but now you no longer have the option of slowing your opponents down unless you get that Frozen Melt or your Ash or you have a slow of your own. Maps. For Summoner's Rift, the lesser wraiths were given less experience than intended, so they fixed that to where they now grant the 15 instead of 4. Blade of the Ruin King is now available on Twisted Treeline and Crystal Scar. Entropy, which that is Phage plus BF Sword on Twisted Treeline and Crystal Scar. The passive Icy has been removed, and you get the passive of Rage from that Phage. And due to Phage's price reduction, the total cost of Entropy is now 3,400 from 3,615. And Katie's Blood Razor has been removed from Crystal Scar. That is it, guys. Again, no glaring, oh my god, game-changing, fixes and, reworks here. There's just minor bug and balance improvements. So, that is it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to thumbs up the video if you want to go ahead and take a look at the comments, or if I maybe missed something that you want to go look at. The link for this, for the patch notes is in the description down below. Other than that, my name has been Shadowswalm. I hope to see you all tomorrow night for the League of Legends tournament that I am casting. And as always, I will talk to you all next time.